Give us my chol, give us my chol, give us my chol, give a smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, be the reason someone smiles. Give us my chol, give us my chol, give us my chol, give a smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, be the reason someone smiles. Give us my chol, give us my chol, give us my chol, give a smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, be the reason someone smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, give us my chol, give a smile. Give us my chol, give us my chol, be the reason someone smiles. Siva gedola, lio lio besimcha. Siva gedola, lio lio besimcha. Siva gedola, lio lio besimcha. Siva gedola, lio besimcha. Siva gedola, lio 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 besimcha. Be the reason someone smiles. 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 Siva gedola, lio besimcha. Siva gedola, lio lio besimcha. Siva gedola, lio lio besimcha. Siva gedola, lio besimcha. Someone smile. Be the reason someone smile. Be the reason someone smiles. Be the reason someone smiles. Be the reason someone smiles.
Why isn't it starting?
Breakfast with Elli. Mode ani lefanecha melech chai ve'kayam shechezarta bi nishmati bechemla rabba emunatecha.
Ben kodesh lechol
Some, you lose some, there's pretty, there's gruesome, there's lows and there's highs, hellos and goodbyes. You win some, you lose some, there's pretty, there's gruesome, there's ups and there's downs, but don't turn around. If you hear me singing this song, you'll know that I'm trying. All I've got's this promise to keep fighting. I don't have a pretty picture trophy smiling. If you hear me singing this song, you know that I'm trying.
I'm coming.
Good morning and welcome to Breakfast with Ellie. It is Sunday. Sorry about that. I lost my place. It is Sunday, the 14th day of January, the 4th day of Shevat. The Torah portion is Bo, HaYom, Yom Rishon Shabbos. First day counting up towards Shabbos. We'll be learning the first Aliyah. It is today the yahrzeit of the Baba Sali. We'll be talking about that in just 1 minute. So, in the meantime, boys and girls and others, please take your men and boys, take your two front sitzes, and let us make a bracha right now. Are you ready?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al mitzvat tzitzit.
Right. Everyone together now. Al divrei Torah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al divrei Torah.
Abel.
הריני מקבל עלי מצוות עשה של ואהבת לרעך כמוך. I take upon myself every single day to love my fellow friend in a very special way.
All right, Torah Tziva.
Torah ציווה לנו משה מורשה קהילת יעקב. תורה ציווה לנו משה מורשה קהילת יעקב.
All right, fantastic. Time to give tzedakah. We're giving
pushki that's a darker box. I put it in the pushki that's a darker box. I put it in the pushki for someone else to keep. Yeah, I put it in the pushki that's a darker box. I put it in the pushki that's a darker box. I put it in the pushki for someone else in need.
Fantastic. Good. All right, here we go. And that takes us to the saying of the Shema. Are you ready? Take your right hand and put it over your eyes.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai
Shahakalniye bidvoroi, shakalniye bidvoroi.
All right, fantastic. And that takes us to breakfast, all right? All right, fantastic. Here we go. Just do that. Shahakol, I have coffee and I have yogurt. Ready? Coffee, yogurt, actually. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shahakol. Ya bidvoroi.
Coffee, blessed coffee. God bless you for being a friend. When the whole world turns on me, it's only you on which I can depend. I want to taste you in the morning and a few times throughout the day. Yes, a cup or two in the evening too. For me, it's the only way. Yeah.
Can you ever have too much coffee? And the answer is yes. All right. Today. Oh, excuse me. All right. Just give me one moment over here. I just need to get to my other screen. Oh, here we are. All right. Today is the yahrzeit of Rabbi Avram Kalisk, the Kalisk Rebbe known. He was a controversial figure in the third generation of Hasidic leaders. In his youth, he was the study partner of the Gaon of Vilna, the Vilna Gaon, Rabbi Eliyahu, who led the initial opposition towards Hasidim. But later, he himself joined the forbidden Kat, the sect, as the Hasidic movement was derisively called by its opponent. He became a disciple of Rabbi Dov Ber, the Maggid of Mezrich, the successor to the founder of the Hasidic movement, Rabbi Yisrael Baal Shem Tov. After the Maggid's passing in 1772, much of the opposition to Hasidim was directed against Rabbi Avram's disciples, who, more than any other group within the movement, mocked the intellectual elitism of the establishment's scholars and communal leaders. Even his own colleagues were dismayed by the antics of some of his disciples. In 1777, Rabbi Avram joined the first Hasidic Aliyah, in which a group of more than 300 Hasidim, led by Rabbi Menachem Mendel of Vitebsk, emigrated to the Holy Land. Rabbi Avram passed away in Tiberias, on the 4th of Shevat in the year 5570 from creation, which was 1810. And today is the yahrzeit of Rabbi Yisroel Abu Chatzera. He lived from 1890 to 1984. That's right. Into our generation. Baba Sali was how he was referred to. He was born in Morocco to the illustrious Abu Chatzera family. From a young age, he was renowned as a sage, a miracle maker, and a master Kabbalist. In 1964, he moved to Israel, eventually settling in the southern development town that he made famous, Netivot. He passed away in 1984 on the fourth day of Shevat. His gravesite in Netivot has become a shrine visited by thousands of people annually. That's pretty cool. Yep. All right. We have a couple of stories about the Baba Sali. Here's the first one.
This was the story that I heard from my dad, and I woke up after 5 minutes out of the blue. When the ambulance came, they told him I'm not gonna make it. And then he grabbed me before they took me, and I woke up like that. He took me
for more than 30 years, Yad Lachim. I always say, my wife, when I was young after, I said, never cancel this Torah. עושה לאלוה אהבת ישראל שאפשר לתאר. שאפשר לתאר אהבת ישראל. זה גם משם נבע כל הרוח הקודש שלו. אני כשהייתי ילד קטן הייתה לי רגל שבורה, ואלוהים החזיקה לו הקדוש ברוך הוא שלוש פעמים היה אצלנו בפרס, במשך כל פעם כמה חודשים. ואני זוכר שאחד הפעמים הייתה לי רגל שבורה, הייתי 6 חודשים בגבס. ניצלתי את זה בשביל שכשהיו אנשים נכנסים לחדר, אז אמרתי שאני לא יכול לזוז, היה לי גבס גדול ברגל. אז בהתחלה הייתי לשמוע דברים קשים בשבילי, לא הייתי רגיל לשמוע צורות של אנשים. היה לי מאוד קשים, ממש הייתי בטראומה. אחרי שבועיים כבר התרגלתי. אפילו אני ילד, זה שבועיים ממש התרגלתי. אבל לא עבר 3 שבועות, וזה יהודי מבלגיה נכנס. ומספר על הבן שלו, שסובל מזה מחלה, כואבת לכאב של הבן שלו, ומתחנן לרב שיתפלל בשבילה. הרב בירך אותו כל הלב. כשהוא יצא, ולא יודע אם הרב שם שהייתי פה, התחיל לבכות וביקש הקדוש ברוך הוא, תיקח את היד שלי ותרפא את הילד, וזה כבר לא הבנתי. טעם אלפים ורבבות של אנשים עדיין עם לב רחמן ואוהב כזה, זה דבר שהרשים אותי עד עצם היום הזה. אפילו ילד, הניגוד הזה, אני כבר התרגלתי אחרי שבועיים שהחדר רבבות של אנשים שמצרות עדיין היה לו אכפתות ורחמנות כזאת. ואני קטונתי, אבל אני מתפלל בזכות אבותיי הקדושים, באוזני קדוש סנא בבא סאלי, עולם בקודש עד יעקב דחסנה, שיעזור לכל מי שיתרום כפי השגת ידו, ותן לו בכפלי כפליים, אין ספק שיעזור לו בכפלי כפליים, גם ברוחניות וגם באישיות וכל מה שהוא צריך. There's no doubt that was the motivation of Rabbi Said when he wrote those letters that we should help this amazing organization Yad La'achem. Mamash, there is no doubt, and that's the utmost, like Pidyon Shvuim, that the utmost sanctified thing we have is the Sefer Torah. We cannot sell for anything but for Pidyon you can sell a Sefer Torah. So when you give money for Yad La'achem, it's more than buying a Sefer Torah. I just can tell you something. There is one monthly contribution that I have for more than 30 years, Yad La'achem. I always say, my wife, when I was young after, I said, never cancel this. It's the most important, the most precious, the utmost pure tzedakah that a person can make.
All right, that's an impressive story. All right, now we're going to go to Gad Elbaz, and we'll start that from the beginning.
For more than 30 years Yad Lachim. I always say, my wife, when was a young Afra, I said, never come.
That was Shabbat Parashat Lech Lecha. And I was a little kid, 9 years old, playing Suda Shlishi time, around that time, outside with all the kids. I was a fast runner, even though I'm short. And I had like a competition with a friend of mine. So I overrun him, and he pushed me a little bit. So when you overrun, it was down the hill like that. When you overrun, you go faster, 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 till you fall. And I fall right on the curve of the sidewalk, on the edge. And I lost conscience. And my eyes was rolled backwards. And there's no pulse, there's nothing. They're calling my dad, screaming, people screaming out my dad, trying to call ambulance. My dad came, lift me on his arms, see there's nothing, check my pulse, there's nothing. I'm
Lifeless.
already like 2-3 minutes like that. 5 minutes he's holding me like that and talking to God.
This is Shal Shudas on Shabbos.
Yeah. And he's holding me, and he said, I will devote my life and his life to you. Bring me back my son. Bring me back my son. I'm not Abraham. He is not Isaac. I can't give him away to you. It's the biggest nisayon. Please don't do that to me. And he's talking to Hashem, and he's talking to Hashem, and then he screamed, God, bring me back my son. Everybody was, this was the story that I heard from my dad. And I woke up after 5 minutes out of the blue. When the ambulance came, they told him, I'm not going to make it. And then he grabbed me before they took me, and I woke up. Like that. He took me, I took a shower, I sat down in the living room, blurry, and I told him, I saw something, Dad. He said, what did you saw? I said I was in a room, lying down in bed, and someone with white beard came to me to my room, and with a hat, a red hat, and came to me and told me, don't worry, I'll take care of you. Nothing will happen to you. It's not your time. You need to go and to be a shliach of Hashem. I didn't know what I'm saying. And I told him, he told me his name is the Baba Sali. I didn't know how the Baba Sali was looking. I was not religious. My father freaked out. And he told him, you now going to be a shliach of Hashem, and you're going to sing for Hashem.
Why singing?
What? I was singing then also. All my life I'm singing. And then I woke up. I told that to my dad.
Baba Sali told you you're going to sing.
Yeah. I woke up, and my dad showed me a picture of Baba Sali, and I started crying, and I was afraid from the picture. I didn't want to see it. Then you realize that it was true. So since then, my dad, this Motzei Shabbat, took the guitar, and he composed one of the biggest songs that me and him had during that time that made a lot of people become in tshuva. It's a song, זה לא קשה לחזור בתשובה. תודה לאלוקיי שנתת לי בן כזה. And I reply, אתה אבי, אני יודע זה קשה לחזור בתשובה. And the end goes, זה לא קשה.
And I think we have time for Reb Zusha with one more story on the passing. One more story of Reb Zusha on the passing of the Baba Sali and his connection to the Lubavitcher Rebbe.
that whatever my master, the Rebbe, will tell me, I will do. Kevan shehu amud ha. Let's give some tzedakah on such a special holy day as today. And you're asking what the day? Today is the 4th day of the month of Shevat, which is the Hilula, the yahrzeit of Baba Saleh Aziz, so fondly called Rabbi Yisrael Abechsera. I want to share with you a fascinating letter that he wrote to the Rebbe in 1952, Tafshin Yud Beis. At that time he had moved already from Morocco to Israel, and he had some regrets, concerns about his being in Eretz Yisrael. And I want to read to you verbatim, and I'll translate it obviously. And he writes the following: L'chvoid kodesh hakodshim, in honor of the Holy of Holies, Amud ha'olam, pillar of the world, Or Yisrael v'torosai, the light of Israel and its Torah, shaloi kom kemoisai, that there is no one like him, Sarah Torah, minister of the Torah, v'oiro and its teachings, Ohuv b'shamayim u'ba'oretz, beloved in heaven and on earth, Moreinu v'Rabbeinu, our master and our teacher. And he says the Rebbe's Harav, the Rebbe's two first names, Milubavitch. So that's a letter that he addressed to the Rebbe. And he writes as following: Hineni avdecha hakoten Yisrael, I am your little servant Israel. His name was Israel. Olisi mi Morocco l'Eretz Yisrael, I came from Morocco to the land of Israel. Vanoshim kan lo nisanuni heshev ruchi, and the people here don't give me peace in mind, peace of mind. Yomim v'leilos, I'm sorry, boim elai b'chol shoyes HaYom v'layla, they come to me at any time, day or night. V'nivtza mimeni lavadas Hashem, and it's preventing me from serving God. Kasher hoysa ba'omna imi, as I used to be accustomed in my home, referring to back to Morocco. And he says, there, yomim v'leilos, day and night, shelo bitalti min haTorah rega echad, I have not missed, I have not wasted a moment, day and night, from study on Torah. And va'ato, he says, and presently, nafshi b'she'ilasi, my soul is asking, Im uchal lovoi elecho la'artzes habris, can I come to you, to the United States? Logur al yadcha b'kirvas mokon, I would love to live next to you, in close proximity. Ve'esosir me'enei kolish, and I will be hidden from any other person. And he concludes, Kobalti olai, I've accepted upon myself, Shemashe yoreini, moreini ora ve'eseh, that whatever my master, the Rebbe, will tell me, I will do. Kevan shehu amud ha'olam, because he, the Rebbe does, is the pillar of the world. V'kach hichrizu olav b'shamayim, and this is how he was declared in heaven. And he signs his name. This is what he wrote to the Rebbe. There is a long 3-page response from the Rebbe to him, dated Tes Nisan, the 9th day of Nisan, Tafshin Yud Beis. The gist of the letter, the Rebbe also gives him amazing titles: Shining Light, Guiding Light, Master of Prayer, on and on. And the Rebbe basically tells him, God has chosen you to be the leader amongst hundreds and thousands of your followers, indeed in Eretz Yisrael. And as such, you must stay there. And as such, your neshama, your soul, will be fulfilled by guiding all the other people. And the Rebbe goes into Kabbalistic concepts and quoting the Zohar, all about being a leader. That the leader's fulfillment happens when he leads, not when he shies away from actually his responsibilities. And indeed, he stayed, he listened.
All right. HaYom Yom for today.
היום הזה הוא זמן שמחתנו, שמע את התפילה שבליבנו, ותמחול את כל עוונותינו ביום הזה.
You don't have to be locked up in a cell to be a prisoner. Visit an addiction rehab center and you will encounter people struggling desperately to break free of themselves. Aren't we all prisoners to bad habits of one form or another? Today's HaYom Yom discusses the personal Egyptian slavery that we can all be subject to. To be in your own personal Mitzrayim is to be at a juncture in your life where the material, selfish, habitual you gets the best of your life, to the point that the material you completely envelops and silences the spiritual voice inside of you. Now you're in Egypt. But personal redemption and freedom is always possible. All you have to do is recognize that the spiritual, selfless you is also the godly you. Just as God has got infinite powers, so too the godly spark in your consciousness, the godly spark that is the selfless spiritual you, has got infinite potential. Armed with this knowledge, the spiritual you can now break through the shackles of the material you, and you are on your way to living a better lifestyle, both cognitively and emotionally.
That works. I like that. All right. Unfortunately, we are going to be skipping HaYom, Bosiligani for today. We are going to resume again tomorrow. A couple of reasons for that. Drop my paper on the floor. A couple of reasons for that, but suffice it to say that we will finish in time for Yod Shvat, which is on Shabbat. All right? And now, a word from our sponsors.
And now, a word from our sponsors. PestProRidol.com.
PestProRidol.com. Trusted by the best to keep away the pests. We are offering COVID-19 disinfection services. Mention this ad and get 1 month free service. Visit us at PestProRidol.com.
Tarzane Group. Micro, miniature, and small orchids. Go to tarzanegroup.com or call Tomas at 305-440-0565. That's 305-440-0565. And order today. Visit Tomas and Yair at tarzanegroup.com. Micro, miniature, and small orchids. Beautiful in your home. Go to the website and read Tomas's orchid blog. And by Dina D Design. DinaDDesign@gmail.com. Fine artwork, custom made to your specifications. Logos, wall hangings, Judaica, and You can even have something for your child's room. Dina D Designs. Go to her Facebook or Instagram or call or text. Thank you very much to our sponsors. If you'd like to become a sponsor, please go right up here to where it says patreon.com/theactorsrabbi, and you can contribute even only $1 a month if you'd like, but that'll help us bring this broadcast to you on a daily basis and cover our expenses. Be sure to thank your sponsors when shopping and mention Breakfast with Elli when you're shopping there. There might be discounts. Thanks for watching.
Torah, 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 Siva lanu Moshe. Torah, 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 Siva lanu Moshe.
All right, patreon.com/theactorsrabbi or breakfastwithelli.live/new computer if you would like to help us get a new computer and expand Torah learning to more people, because I can handle more bandwidth, which is really, really important. All right. The name of the Parsha, Bo. Bo means come here. In our context, it's Bo el Paro, come to Paro. But why is the Parsha in which the Jews crush Egypt and leave it known as Bo el Paro, come to Paro, a statement which might express the might of the Pharaoh? Well, the Rebbe says this teaches us an important lesson. Some people think that to solve problems in their lives, they just need to do more good. The more good, the more good, the more good, solve all the problems. The truth is that good is not enough. You have to do good, but you also have to eradicate the bad. And not just bad in general, but bad that must be crushed at its root so that it does not grow back. Therefore, Hashem told Moshe, Bo el Paro, come to Paro, in his palace, where he resides in all of his glory. Moshe was told to seek out the evil of Egypt at its root and then to crush it, humiliate it to the extreme, and only then could the exodus occur. Now, in this daily life, this means that a person should try to identify the primary desire which burns in his heart in the root of his own personal evil and launch an attack on that desire with full force. When you stand and succeed in this mission, you will find that your other personal struggles follow effortlessly in its wake. Right? I love it. All right. In the first Aliyah, we are up to the 8th plague. At the request of Hashem, Moshe and Aaron went to Paro and delivered a warning. How long will you refuse to humble yourself before me? Shlach es ami ve'avduni. Let my people go, that they can worship me. They informed Paro that if he doesn't allow the Israelites to go, Egypt will be attacked by a plague of locusts. After Moshe and Aaron left, Paro's servants begged him to allow the Israelites to leave. Don't you yet know that Egypt is lost, they argued. Paro called back Moshe and Aaron and offered to allow the Israelites to leave, provided they leave behind their children as security. They refused the offer, and Paro stubbornly refused to allow the Israelites to go. Big mistake, Paro. Big mistake. All right. Chumash and Rashi with Rabbi Avtson. Let's go. All right. All right, that takes us to Parsha Points with Rabbi Epstein. It's got a new format. Tell me if you like it.
Parsha Points for Era Friday. What's with all the punishment? I mean, we're leaving anyway. Just get out and leave Egypt behind. We're not even allowed to ever come back. When Hashem's infinity is revealed, it changes everything. It's the ultimate disruptor. If we are baked into our old ways, that can hurt. Changing our pursuits from the material. Parsha Points for Bo, Sunday. Why does God tell Moshe to go to Paro? Because he has hardened his heart? I mean, God's hardening Pharaoh's heart suggests that he shouldn't go. What's the point? Paro's going to say no anyway. Perhaps herein lies the lesson. Sometimes it's just the blunt force trauma against an unbending enemy that starts to create those little cracks. We have to do what Hashem instructs us to do, even when it seems completely irrational. And look, it starts to have some success. After this 8th plague, Paro starts to try to negotiate. Suddenly, he's not so defiant. Suddenly, he's not so stubborn. He's not so Paro. Moshe goes to Paro at God's instruction because we should go to Paro when God tells us to. What the result will be, that's out of our hands. We need to do our service and let the result play out as it will.
All right. Shnayim Yomi for today.
Good day, everybody, and welcome once again. We are on the 4th day. The Aliyah is Revi'i in Parshas Bo. And in this Aliyah, Moshe tells us that he had said to Paro, as we said yesterday, he had told it to Paro previously, that every Bechar is going to die in Mitzrayim. And at that time, once they die, Am Yisrael will be free.
Sorry about that.
Welcome. And this week we have the privilege of learning Parshas Bo. Parshas Bo, by the way, is numerically 3 because this Parsha is a continuation of last week's Parsha, which we began with the Makos. And as everybody knows, in total there were 10 Makos, and we have 3 left. And so therefore it fits that the Parsha Bo would be numerically 3 because that's what we are up to. And this, the first Makkah that we're up to here, that Torah speaks about Arba. Arba was going to cover the entire land. Paro was warned by Moshe and Aaron. Once again, Paro did not listen. Not only did not listen, but as the Torah describes, as it has a couple of times, Hechbatati es libo, Hashem hardened the heart of Paro. And interesting enough, the Mefarshim explain Hechbatati, which we define as hardening the heart. The kaved, the liver of a person, is the root word of Hechbatati. And the liver is unique from any other part of an animal, that the liver, when you cook it, unlike any other part of the animal, instead of getting softer, it gets harder. And that was Paro. Every time there was another makkah, he got even more tougher and hardened even more. Of course, there is that question about his bechira, but as we know, one of the many answers is that he had lost his bechira because that was his punishment, because he refused all the time to listen to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That became part of his punishment, that he was like a kaved, he was like liver, and that he was going to become hardened each time. Have a good day.
All right, that takes us to Rabbi Zilberstein.
For the well-being, for the safety of our dear soldiers in Eretz Yisrael. My dear friends, let's give some tzedakah, and together we'll have the tefillah, our prayer for the safety and well-being of our brothers and sisters in Eretz Yisrael. obviously for the soldiers who are selflessly giving of their lives, not of their lives, but actually their lives for our safety, for the well-being of all of Klal Yisrael, for the hostages, which is just mind-boggling to think over 100 days they're already hostages, and please God, protect them and may they come home safe. And all of us who are hostages, we should all come out already from our exile. Talking about coming out from exile. Torah says, the expression, Ki meitzeis chom eretz Mitzrayim haren niflois, tell our sages. The same process as coming out of Egypt will be repeated itself in a different context, obviously, in a different setting, in the final redemption. Let's look at the pasuk, or at the verses of the Torah, where they talk about the actual coming out of Egypt. We know that on Pesach we drink 4 cups of wine. And why is that? Because of the 4 different expressions in the Torah that we find about being freed of Egypt. Voitzeisi, Vitzalti. I'm sorry, I skipped one. V'go'alti, v'lokachti. I've taken you out, I've saved you, I've liberated you, and I will take you. Let's look at a few of the words here. And the Torah says the following. Voitzeisi eschem, l'chein amer levnei Yisrael, and thus you should tell to the Jewish people. Ani Hashem, I'm God, your God. Voitzeisi eschem, and I will take you out mitachas sivlois Mitzrayim, from the suffering, from the challenges, from the difficulties of Egypt. Vitzalti eschem, I will save you. And it goes on. But here is the word, Voitzeisi eschem, I will take you out mitachas, from under sivlois Mitzrayim. The suffering. Sivlois is usually translated as the suffering. So I heard from Rabbi Jacobson, who quotes, I think he said it's Fasemes or the Chodush Orim, and he says the word sivlois has also a different meaning. Sivlois also means, besides the suffering, lisbol, to suffer, but also to have patience, to accept. You know, Israelis are known to be the most, quite impatient. Yet, whenever you stand somewhere in line and somebody jumps the line, and somebody gets nervous, they scream and they have this gesticulation, Savlanut, have patience. And they say it in the most impatient of ways. Patience is a virtue. By the way, they say, what makes a successful doctor? Patience. But patience also has a negative connotation. When we become patient to someone else's suffering, we accept it. Or for that matter, when we become patient with exile, says the Eibishter, Voitzeisi eschem mitachas sivlois Mitzrayim. I will take you out from this patience that you have developed from being in Egypt. Yes, in exile, we can become complacent. We can start accepting it. We can start get used to it. And sometimes it's relatively easy to get used to it. Why? It's pretty good. In general, life today is quite comfortable. Most people don't live in poverty, although unfortunately many of them are, but in general, the Jewish community is relatively comfortable. We have Jewish education, we have all that we need to lead a religious life. There is restaurants galore, there's kosher food galore. We're not being forbidden to study Torah, we're not being forbidden to do mitzvahs. We can become patient, we can become complacent. Says the Eibishter, Voitzeisi eschem mitachas sivlois Mitzrayim. I will take you out from this feeling of complacency, of being patient. Mashiach will come, he'll come whenever he'll come. In the meantime, I lead my life as comfortably, as beautiful as could be. So God says, I will take you out of this. And you know what, my friends? Let's look at what's happening today around the world. suddenly, wherever we go, any part of the world, in the States and in Europe, South Africa suddenly became the moral compass of the world. And what are we being told with all those demonstrations? Time to get out of Egypt. You don't belong here. And indeed, you know what? They're right. We don't belong either in America, we don't belong in South Africa, we don't belong in Canada, we don't belong in Europe. We belong in one place. We belong with Mashiach and the Beis HaMikdash. That's what the Torah says. Take yourself, I will take you out, and you take yourself out of this complacency, and we will all reach, in Yirtzeh Hashem, the Gula with Mashiach.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, I've got a treat for you. We talked about the Parsha that we will go out. Hisyatzvu, you will see that we will go out with our young, our old, and here's Avram Fried singing about that.
Hashem. Siatzivor Yoes Yeshuas Hashem. Oto Kom Mashiach. Oto Kom Mashiach. Hinei Zebo Oy Oy Siatzivor Yoes Yeshuas Hashem. Siatzivor Yoes Yeshuas Hashem. Oto Kom Mashiach. Oto Kom Mashiach. Hinei Zebo Oy Oto Kom Mashiach. Oto Kom Mashiach. Hinei Zebo.
That takes us to Tehillim.
Al Yedei Amiras Tehillim. The Al Yedei Amiras Tehillim. Tisoyre Chavateles HaShoroin.
All right, the saying of Tehillim, so incredibly, unbelievably, and vitally important. Every moment that you have free, you should be saying Tehillim to help the hostages, to help the sick, to help the needy. Say Tehillim, chapters 23 and 122 today.
מזמור לדוד, אדוני רואי, לא אחסר, בינוס תשע, ירביצני, על מי מנוחוס ינהלני, נפשי שובב, ינחני ומעגלי צדק, למען שמו, גם כי לך בגץ על מובס, לא ירא, כי אתה עמדי, שבטך ומשענתך, המה ינחמוני, תערוך לפני שולחן נגד צורריי, תשענת בשמן ראשי, כוסי רוויה, אך טוב וחסד ירדפוני, כל ימי חיי ושבתי בביס אדוני לאורך ימים.
שמע לא יסרידו וישמחתי וימנים לי ויסעלינו יני אלי אוים דויסו יורה אלינו בשורייך ירושלים ירושלים הבנויה כאיש שחור לא יחדיו ששמו שותים שפטי העדות לישראל להוידויס לשם עלינו Shama Yashavu Chizais B'Mishvat Kisais Levayis David Shalu Shalayim Yerushalayim Yishrayu Oyhavayich Ahai Yishalayim Michayleich Shava V'ayim Nayisayich
Go.
Tanya.
Tanya thoughts for the 4th of Shevat. Why do Jews like a little anti-Semitism? Because nothing kickstarts the dormant, godly soul like a threat against it. When our godliness has been lulled to sleep, the awareness of a threat against its essential connection, the accusation that he is completely severed from God, that will electrify him to life. That's the untouchable willingness to be amazed, the unsullied chachma, the entry point to stimulate a sleepy, godly soul. Ignite that, and the godly soul comes roaring back to life. That's the antidote to the foolishness of the animal soul, to recognize that any surrender to the animal soul sunders my relationship with God. That'll fire me up, and I will resist it.
Let's talk Tanya for the 4th of Shevat of a leap year. And before we get to today's Tanya, let's do a larger recap of where we are in Tanya, actually starting from the very beginning. Tanya, as we mentioned multiple times, is based on the pasuk Ki karev elecha hadavar miyoed beficha v'vavcha la'asosei. It is here to tell us how serving Hashem and doing the right thing 24/7 in thought, speech, and action is something which is a reasonable expectation from all of us. It's doable. The first chapters of Tanya, chapters 1 through 8, the Alter Rebbe over there was describing the animal soul and the godly soul. We need to become familiar with the actors in the struggle. Chapter 9, we learned about the struggle. Chapter 10, 11, and 12, we learned about the outcomes, the possible outcomes in the struggle. Tzaddik, Rasha, Beinoni. Chapter 13, reality check. Chapter 14, we learned that all of us, we should try to become a Beinoni. That should be our aspiration. And then from there on, we started moving into the concept of avodah, the concept of internal work, the idea of using the mind to influence the heart, to create and generate emotions. It has independent value, internal work. That work has independent value, even if a person happens to be perfect already in thought, speech, and action. But also ultimately, it is very key to be able to serve God at all times is using the mind to create, to generate and create emotions, holy emotions, and create holy emotional congruence. And then in the last chapter, in chapter 16, we also learned the idea that even if using our mind and meditating and contemplating doesn't lead us to full-fledged and full-blown emotions, intellectual emotions, as we discussed yesterday, that's also enough. Now we can finally say we understand the pasuk Ki karev elecha hadavar miyoed beficha v'vavcha la'asosei. Now we can understand how it's something which is doable for every single one of us. How is it possible to say I could do the right thing all the time? If I use my mind to create emotions, then if I'm emotionally in a certain place, then the struggle really becomes lessened to a much greater degree because there isn't that huge tension between the mind and the heart. And it's actually reasonable to say that I will be doing what Hashem wants, Torah, mitzvahs, in thought, speech, and action all the time. And what we learned in yesterday's Tanya was very key. Because the idea that I don't have to have full-blown emotions, but intellectual emotions are enough, because ultimately, if I needed to have full-blown emotions, then I can't say Ki karev elecha hadavar miyoed. Then I can't say that it's practical for everyone, because not everyone can create those full-blown emotions. But once we learned yesterday that the intellectual emotions are enough, now there's no more excuses, because pretty much everyone can use their mind to create those intellectual emotions. And if you have those intellectual emotions, that will be enough to get you to do the right thing all the time. So the bottom line is, if we take a little time every single day to focus our mind and try to create a certain emotional posture, certain holy emotions, whether that leads to actual full-blown emotions, whether that leads to intellectual emotions, that's something every single one of us can do, and that will lead us to moyach shalta lev, the mind controlling the heart and doing the right thing all the time. So we've wrapped up our conversation on Ki karev elecha hadavar miyoed beficha v'vavcha la'asosei. At least for now, we've wrapped it up. There will be other ideas that we'll discuss connected to Ki karev elecha. Tomorrow, we will find out that although for most people, this whole program that we described, which is the mind influencing the heart and influencing its feelings, works, there is a certain type of person for whom Moyer Shalta Lev will not work. That person is the exception to the rule, and we will find out who that person is in tomorrow's Tanya.
All right. Great stuff. Great stuff. He puts so much work into that. Sefer HaMitzvahs of the Rambam is up.
No, it's not impossible that Rebbe did say, just study Rambam each and every day. I'll never miss my daily Rambam. My Rebbe so desires, I'm not busy or too tired. When I learn Rambam connected, I remain, I am a link in the Rebbe's golden chain.
All right. Class number 267 with Rabbi Taub.
Baruch Hashem, today is day number 267 of our daily study of Rambam Sefer Mitzvahs. And in the 3 chapters a day study track of Mishnah Torah, we're continuing in Hilchos Mechira, the laws of sales, chapters 13, 14, and 15. Our mitzvah today is negative commandment 251. It is the prohibition against hurting somebody with words. They say sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me. Well, it's not true. There are names that are hurtful, and it is actually a prohibition to verbally abuse somebody. It's a biblical prohibition. Why is that included in the laws of buying and selling? Like, what does it have to do with it? Okay, so I alluded to it yesterday. Remember, we had yesterday, yesterday and the day before, the prohibition of einah, which is aggrieving somebody. And I specifically said to you, I think yesterday, that it was einos mamain, aggrieving them in business matters. So there's another concept, which is einos dvorim, hurting somebody with words. So because they're both called einah, and also they come from, in their scriptural source, they are in proximity to each other. I mentioned in previous days, Vayikra Chofhei Yodalid, Leviticus 25:14 is where it says, Al toinu ish es achiv, do not aggrieve your fellow in buying and selling. Well, just a few lines later, in verse 17, it says, V'loi sainu ish es amisai, do not wrong your fellow, do not aggrieve your fellow. And there, it's not speaking about business, so then what is it speaking about? It's speaking about with hurtful words. And that is a prohibition of the Torah. Okay, that's our lesson for today. We will see you for more, God willing, tomorrow.
Although the mitzvahs we'll be discussing over the next few days are not directly linked to the subject of this book of the Rambam, which is about acquisition and buying and selling, they appear in this book because the word the Torah uses to describe them is the same word as the one used to describe yesterday's mitzvah, ona'ah. Ona'ah, in yesterday's context, meant cheating in business transactions. Today, the negative prohibition which we learn, number 251, is the prohibition to do ona'ah, cheating, with our words. Now, the way Torah defines cheating with words is in a number of ways. First, it's a prohibition against taunting. We're not allowed to make fun of others verbally in a way which will leave them feeling bad. The Rambam brings multiple examples for this. One of them would be somebody who has repented recently from his wicked ways. We should not go around telling him, oh, remember the time when you were evil and when you used to do the wrong things. Those words will for sure make him feel bad. Even if a person simply had a bad habit and overcame it, it's forbidden to tell him, wow, thank God that he removed you from this bad way of behavior to the good way of behavior. Those are included under the umbrella of ona'as dvarim, cheating with words.
All right. Matters of Mashiach. Let me get to my file over here so I can give you Mashiach Matters. Computer's being weird today. Computer's always weird. I shouldn't use that as an excuse. In study or in practice, is study greater or is action greater? Rabbi Tarfon said that action is greater. Rabbi Kiva said study is greater. The elders concluded study is greater because it leads to action. It is impossible to do anything well or proper without study and training. On the other hand, no amount of training replaces actual experience, which brings much richer understanding. Example, real estate. Took the real estate course once, and the first thing that the instructor said is, everything you learn here today is in order to pass the test, and nothing you will learn here today has anything to do with real estate. Furthermore, only action brings results. Exile is training. Until we master our lessons, we lack the understanding and sensitivity to fully appreciate a godly experience. Now, once we acquire this maturity, our emphasis will turn to action. So, when Mashiach comes, action will be greater than study. In these, the final seconds of exile, everything we learn must bring practical results. And through this approach, we will soon merit the time where no longer will a man teach his fellow, saying, "Come and know Hashem," because they will all already know Hashem. I like that. Soll schön sein die Geula. We should already have the redemption. Let's see if we can get this to play. All right, and now our PSAs.
Hello, let's do the part 2 of 2023 in the news. Part 2 will be about the Must Be a Relief team, and let's go straight to it. The first story about the Must Be a Relief, and most of the stories in 2023 are about asylum seekers, was a News 12 story in the beginning of January. The second thing is Mayor Eric Adams invited me to speak at one of his press conferences, so here's a little bit of that.
This is a leadership moment for all of us. This is a human moment. It doesn't matter if it's my spear from the Hasidic community who have provided thousands of foods.
Organizations that was so critical in supporting asylum seekers very early on, providing shoes, clothing. Many of the asylum seekers were arriving with sandals, were arriving with barely any items of clothing, and they showed up and demonstrated what New York was all about, and that was Masbia. And I'd like to invite Alex to join us to share a few words.
We are a not-for-profit charity. We were able to go out just by people voting with their dollars, saying we want to help, we want to do more for immigrants. It's in our tradition. It's what America became great for, and we want more of that.
A couple of days later, we were featured in the mayor's State of the City address. I got this from one of my friends. One of the special events we did in the beginning of 2023 in February was a partnership with Mixtaka and Kojo of Flatbush. So you can see here the sponsor, Leon Goldenberg, and we actually had a guest from Kentucky that was here for the Chop Hunger event. Micah Sievers and the entire family were there at the event. The event was covered by Fox 5 and New York One.
The Must Be a Relief team and the Council of Jewish Organizations of Flatbush joined together to distribute supplies at a Mixteca in Brooklyn. One of the items handed out were brand new coats, sweaters, shoes, boots, and winter clothes for children.
Migrants slept in the cold, got some help from neighbors today in Brooklyn. Community groups teamed up and handed out winter gear to the families. Hundreds showed up for the giveaway in Sunset Park. Families were able to pick out winter coats and boots to help handle the cold weather.
Then we go to Passover. Passover We mentioned these stories in part one, but they also had an element that we worked with asylum seekers featured in those stories, so we're featuring those again.
Passover season and the demand is huge.
When it comes to the time of Passover, we usually are forced to hire temps. So this year, we chose to hire asylum seekers.
Alexander Rappaport is the executive director. These asylum seekers don't have work permits, but as part of a unique partnership with immigrant rights nonprofit La Colmena, these immigrant workers can take temporary jobs which can provide a lifeline.
We also had a 12 story by Shanice, a very nice story.
What's special this year is that our Passover distribution includes giving opportunity for asylum seekers.
With the help from La Colmena, a community organization in Staten Island, they were able to give a few asylum seekers a temporary job, from potatoes to carrots.
All right, there we go. Must be a soup kitchen and food pantry. Must be a soup kitchen and food pantry available by texting the word food to 726-879. 7 days worth of pantry food and hot meals every day. In Rockland County, it's tomcheishabbos.org. In Lakewood, it's tomche.org. In Chicago, breakfastwitheli.live/Chicago Food Bank. Achiezer.org is there for all your other needs. Doesn't matter what you need. Achiezer can help you find a source for it. They are an amazing, amazing organization. I am incredibly, incredibly impressed with them. What they can't provide isn't available. That's what I think. I think if they can't provide it, it's not available, right? Hatzalah EMS available by putting the Global Assist app on your home screen. All right, that helps Hatzalah get to you quicker. Hatzalah Global Assist available on the iOS and Android stores. And in times of bereavement, God forbid, Miss Askim is there. They will help you plan everything from A to Z. They can help with whatever it is you need. Just One Shabbos is here to help out. Help bring our misguided youth back to the beauty of keeping Shabbos one Shabbos. If you are the victim of or see a hate crime in progress, God forbid, call 911. Applies to Shabbos and Yom Tov as well. And when you're out and about, please wear a mask.
Wear a mask. Is this really much
go
to
back
ask?
to mandatory.
Tie some fabric round your face. Oh, it's the simplest of tasks. At the gym, at the store. Don't treat it like such a chore.
All right, hold on a second. These things are being a little bit wonky today. Maybe it's the weather. I don't know. All right, make sure you get your vaccinations. Stay up to date with all that because it's really, really, really important. All right. Man, I don't know why this thing is giving me a problem over here. I'll just hold on to it for a minute. All right. Let's try bringing some heaven down to earth. No, remember that. We got it coming up. Come on. Nope, we lost all oils. Alright. Forget that. Just a minute. I do want to finish. Yes. We're almost ready. Ready. Fuel bar. Gauge. Coming up to the end. This is always the part that takes the longest, right? That little bit at the end. You think it's coming along quickly. All right. If it doesn't come up now, we have to move on. Hey, Ruthie. Oh, you changed it. Yeah, that doesn't matter. Oh, wait. All right. Well, it's not Kislev. See. All right. This is not working. All right. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can get this to work. All right, here we are. All right, do not be misled by those who claim there is no purpose. They may know life, but not its womb. They may know darkness, but not its meaning. They may have wisdom, but they can't reach higher to a place beyond wisdom, a place from which all wisdom began. They may reach so high until the very source from which all rivers flow, to the place where all known things converge, where all knowledge is one. But they haven't touched the very core of being, the place before being begins, where it is chosen that being will begin, where there's nothing, no light, no darkness, no knowledge, no convergence, no wisdom, nothing but the burning purpose of this moment now, because it is for that purpose that being began. Well, there you go. That was interesting. Worth waiting for, right? All right. Come to me on social media, any of the Actors Rabbis groups at Clubhouse, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Telegram, Twitter, WhatsApp, YouTube, theactorsrabbi.com, where you can Baruch ato Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam boirei nefashos rabois v'chesronan al kol ma sheborasa lachayos bohem nefesh kol chai baruch chai haolamim. Baruch. Right. Thank you for being here. Thank you, my Patreon sponsors, Castro Vidal, Tarzan Orchid, Stina Nicholas, Marshall Bitterman, Avi G in the UK, Razum Musavi. If you'd like to sponsor Patreon.com/Rabbi or our virtual tip jar at breakfastwithelli.live/tip-jar, or to contribute to getting a new computer, go to breakfastwithelli.live/new-computer. We're almost there, folks. So if you could help out, it would be really, really, really appreciated. Today, Dalid Shevat, the yahrzeit of the Baba Sali. Right there, yahrzeit of the Baba Sali. So don't forget that. If you're going to go out and do something good today and something kind today, and I know you are because that's the kind of people you are, Do it in the name of the Baba Sali, who was there for many Jews for many years. He was there, and he was very close to the Lubavitcher Rebbe. They had a thing going. They wrote letters to each other, and that's really, really, really cool. And the Baba Sali had the most amazing respect for the Rebbe. And it was vice versa. You know it was. All right? You know it was exactly the same on both of them. All right. Let's see. Where is that? Okay. All right. All right. It is also Sunday. The first day of the week, a day to go out and do good things. So please go out and make sure that you take care of that business today as well. All right? In the words of Rabbi Isaac Hamler, have affection for a fellow. Hashem will have affection for you. Do a kindness for a fellow. Hashem will do a kindness for you. Draw a fellow close, and Hashem will draw you close to him. Go out and make it a great and glorious day. Be the reason someone smiles. I've got a wonderful video for you today. Enjoy this, and I will, God willing, talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for being here.
איך העולם הפוך פתאום, ושקט אין בשום מקום, שואל מה מחכה. מבול יורד, העולם מוצף, האש עולה, הכל נשרף, שואל מה עוד יקרה. אני שואל אבל לא עונים, וקול קורא מתוך הלב בפנים, לא לפחד. וכשרועדת האדמה במגפה בזמן של מלחמה, לא צריך לפחד, לא לפחד מדבר, לא לפחד זה העיקר, כי אלוקים ישמע אותנו בתפילה. לא לפחד מדבר, לא לפחד זה העיקר, ורק בסוף נבין הכל מההתחלה. הלב זועק להתחזק, לשמוע את כל דודי דופק אומר, אני כאן איתך. תדע שגם בתוך הבלבול הכל נדוד, הכל שקול תמיד, יש השגחה. לא שואל הדברים פשוטים, כי יד אחת מושכת בחוטים. לא לפחד, לא לפחד מדבר, לא לפחד זה העיקר, כי אלוקים ישמע אותנו בתפילה. לא לפחד מדבר, לא לפחד זה העיקר, ורק בסוף נבין הכל מההתחלה. לא לפחד מדבר, לא לפחד זה העיקר, כי אלוקים ישמע אותנו בתפילה.